We are Creatures of the Night. Today we're going to be talking about the 30th anniversary of Batman the Animated Series. And John, you want to start us off?
This is gonna be like a top 10 like favorite episodes. Actually, on my YouTube channel, I recently did like a top 30 favorite Batman the animated series, and so basically, I took some like episodes from my YouTube channel video and put them on the list for today's video, and a few honorable mentions too.
Right, right. I guess I should start with mine. Now, mine's not in any particular order, so I'll just start with number one.
Okay, there you go.
Number one for me is Heart of Ice. Now,
I
that's
can
the
see
episode
why.
with Mr. Freeze.
Right?
Uh,
Yes.
FYI, for those of you who haven't seen the series, go watch it now and then come
Yes.
back so you could celebrate with us. But
Yes.
um,
Yes. They
but for
deserve it.
those of you that are familiar with the series, Heart of Ice is the one with Mr. Freeze, and the dialogue is probably the best thing about this episode, and the story, his origin with his
Yes.
wife dying of cancer, so he has to freeze her and it's one of the best episodes. Perchance to Dream, I guess would be number two
Right.
for me. That's the episode where basically it's like a Twilight Zone episode.
Or It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, but with Batman.
Yes.
What was the other one we talked about? Into Darkness.
Dreams in Darkness.
Dreams in Darkness. Now that's the one where Batman is basically hallucinating that like none of his foes or anything existed. It's kind of similar to Perchance to Dream, but a little different.
Right.
Number three, I guess would have to be Harley Quinn for me.
Okay.
That's the episode where Harley Quinn kind of teams up with Batman and Robin, and
Yes.
it's a really cool episode. And they basically remade it badly in Batman and Harley Quinn, but the less said about that, the better.
Yes. That doesn't exist for me.
Yeah, yeah. Harley's Holiday would also be
Good
a
one.
good one. That's where Harley tries to reform but kind of fails. But again, great writing, great exploration into the character of Harley Quinn. For me, that's the only version, you know,
Better than Birds of Prey from 2020.
better
That's
than
for sure.
Birds of Prey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, let's see. What was number four? I guess number four would be Almost Got Him.
That's a good one. I like
Almost
that one.
Got Him. That's where the villains basically tell their own stories of
Right.
of how they almost got him, and it's a great story with great dialogue.
Right.
Uh, Number five would be was it what was the other holiday one we talked about?
Holiday Nights. That was like an anthology.
Well, no, not Holiday Nights. Was it Mad Seasons with Calendar Girl?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Mad Season. You're right. Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
that one was great.
No. Mean Seasons. Not Mad. I'm sorry.
Mean Seasons.
Yes.
Yeah, that one was great too.
Yes. That is a good one.
Yeah, that one had a great ending.
Yeah.
That's more of a psychological twist kind of thing.
Absolutely.
And I guess number six would be Baby Doll. On
That's a
the,
good
on the
one.
flip side, about a childhood actress who can't physically age, kind of goes mad,
Right.
and it's
Right.
probably one of the most heartbreaking episodes for the animated series. But
That
that's
that that episode like amazed and shocked me where I thought like as a kid watch at first I'm thinking, okay, this sounds like a lame episode, but then once I saw it, I was like shocked, like, oh my God, this is a better episode than it sounded because I'm thinking,
right.
Baby Doll, like you gotta be kidding me. Are we going like too PC or too kiddish? But no, it was a great
Yeah,
episode.
it really shows that um, despite it being a kid show, it really pushed the envelope in what was, I guess, acceptable for kids. But really, that's what makes it so great. It was for kids and adults, and
Yeah.
it didn't really insult anybody's intelligence
Nope.
whatsoever. Um, but going off of that, I guess would have to be going to the new animated series. Um, would be Mad Love. Mad Love.
That's a great one.
Yeah, that was adapted from Paul Dini's comic. I wish it had the old animation. That's the one gripe But that's the origin of Harley Quinn, and that's one of the best origins
Absolutely.
could get for her. It's been adapted in the first Suicide Squad, lest we forget. But that is also heartbreaking as
It
well,
is.
because Harley gets so close to basically almost killing Batman, but
Right.
because of Joker's ego,
Right.
she gets pushed out a window.
Yeah, I know. That like shocked me, like, oh my God.
Yeah, that was one of the more darker stuff that we got a glimpse of really the abuse of Harley Quinn.
Right.
They couldn't really show too much, but they showed enough.
Right.
Um, but number eight, I guess would be Joker's Favor.
Yeah, that's a good well, that's a good one. I don't know if that's one of the best, not on my list, but it's an okay episode.
I enjoyed that episode. That's the episode where basically something happens to some sort of um, everyday kind of schmo,
Yeah, yeah.
and basically Joker calls on this guy and says, "Listen, years later, I need a favor, Sal."
Right.
Yeah, and it's just it's one of the best comeuppance that Joker ever got.
I think that was also Harley Quinn's first appearance, if I'm not mistaken, because she was supposed to be a one
I
time.
think so.
Yeah.
I think so, if
I
I'm
could
not
be wrong, but
mistaken.
don't quote me on it.
But anyway, I'd have to say number 9 for me, and this is a little surprising because every episode on this list is no greater than the other.
Right, exactly.
We all love these episodes,
Preferences.
but I'd have to go with The Man Who Killed Batman.
Okay, that's actually on my list, but we'll get to me later when we're done with your list.
Yeah, The Man Who Killed Batman, it's kind of this sort of similar type deal. Batman is allegedly dead, and by
Right.
this, no-named guy, and everybody's kind of celebrating him, and it really brings home the concept of without Batman, Joker has no purpose. He
Right.
literally says that, and we really get into psyche of like, yeah, the Joker would never really, well, I wouldn't say never really kill Batman, but he would kill Batman on his own terms if it made sense within the joke he was telling, or something like that.
Right.
But if someone else was able to do the job, it kind of left him
Right.
purposeless.
It just
But
shows no matter what, Batman, the Joker needs Batman no matter what.
yeah,
Without
number
Batman, crime has no punchline.
yeah, yeah, famous line. But
Yeah.
yeah. So number 9 for me would be. Hold on, I gotta think for a minute. Gotta go into the recesses. Um. Oh, I guess it would have to be Lion and the Unicorn.
Okay.
You remember that episode? That's the episode
I do, but it's been a long
with
time since I've seen that
Alfred
episode.
and basically the secret society.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
interesting too. That one would have to be number 9, and number 10. Number 10. That's I guess number 10 for me. Fear itself, or no, yeah. Nothing to fear. Nothing to
Yeah,
fear
that's a good
would be
that's
no.
on my list, but I'll wait till we get to my opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Nothing to fear. The intro to Scarecrow.
Yes.
I tried to keep this like intro less, but without the origins, but it's hard.
It
Um,
is. It
but but
is.
but Nothing to Fear has probably one of the best arcs for Batman, and next to Mask of the Phantasm, probably one of the best lines.
Yes.
Famous
Yeah.
lines, I am the Knight, I am Batman.
Right.
Yeah,
That was the moment where people are like, "Kev, this guy is the Batman."
right, right. But anyway, John, you want to go on with your list?
Yeah, but before that, here are just few brief honorable mentions. Over the Edge, great twist. Baby Doll, it was better than expected. trial where all the villains come together and put Batman on trial. Like, he's the one responsible for like
Right. I
creating
forgot about
villains.
Trial. I actually, yeah.
The Man Who Killed Batman. It was a good episode where we thought Batman was actually dead, but I don't want to give any spoilers for that. Every Riddler episode, I wish there could have been more Riddler episode, but I liked every episode. Like, I think is if you're so smart, why aren't you rich? What is reality? In a way, think of that episode as like a kid's version of Videodrome, and also think about this protected the future, virtual reality.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, and think, oh yeah, Riddler's reform, good, decent finale to the character. Never Fear. That was like a great, interesting like Scarecrow episode where the Scarecrow, instead of like putting fear, like what if like there was no fear at all in like his victims, where even like even like when you have no fear, that can have its like pros and cons like anything else, and sometimes a little fear is okay and a little being afraid is okay sometimes.
Right.
Right. Heart of Steel. This was like 2001 meets Blade Runner slash Terminator.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was basically robot Batman, basically.
Yeah, yes, yes. I hope someday they make a comic book where like Batman like fights Terminators. That would be such a cool concept for a comic book.
I wouldn't be surprised if they already did that already.
Right. Well, I can't really see the all I found so far was Superman and Terminator.
Right.
Yeah. Moon of the Wolf, definitely an episode doesn't get enough attention and credit because it's like this was like a horror episode. You have this like
Oh
athlete
yeah.
bodybuilder who is like taking this like steroid venom and he becomes a werewolf.
Right,
And basically,
right.
the moral is don't use steroids.
Well, that's similar to a Batman Beyond episode, but I'll
Right,
try and stay on track.
right. Robin's Reckoning, definitely a true justice of his origin story being told and how he finds the man who killed his parents and wants revenge, but Batman's afraid of like if he finds Zuko, that'll kill him, and also he's afraid like what if like something bad happened to Robin too at the same time.
Right.
Yeah. World's Finest, Batman. This is what Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice should have been. Take
Yes,
notes on that, Zack
yes. Yeah,
Snyder.
that's the Batman and Superman crossover. Great, great episode. Great episode.
Yes, absolutely. I watched this like episode a lot religiously on like all the time because of how great it was to see. But then again, that was before the 2016 movie with
Yes,
Affleck and
let
Cavill
us
Snyder.
forget. Let us forget.
Yes. Anyway, Harley and Ivy, that was probably the first episode they ever like teamed up together, and this is what made the the
Right,
the team up popular and became like a big iconic for comic books for female villains teaming up.
right, exactly. Yeah.
House of Garden that I'm sorry, House of Garden, probably my favorite episode of Poison Ivy. It was like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and
Oh
this
yeah,
episode
that
freaked me out
was
as a kid.
that wasn't that the one with the pod children?
Yes, hence
Yeah,
Invasion
that
of
was
the Body
freaky.
Snatchers.
That was
Yeah, that
that was
episode
that
freaked
was
me out
freaky.
too. And that was
That,
before I
that
even understood how the inspiration for that episode was the original Invasion of the Body Snatcher from the 50s sci-fi movie.
right, right. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that episode, but if you haven't, give it a watch because there is one scene in particular where these pod babies are
Babies,
born,
yeah.
and it's the freakiest stuff.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine the trauma that certain kids have gone
Yeah.
through because I'm looking at this as an adult. I'm rewatching this as an adult, and
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, wow. I said this had to be
Right.
freaky for kids
Right. And I
because this
also
is freaky for me.
what I also love about the episode too is that Poison Ivy like really like wanted to like change her life and have like a regular life, family, children,
Right.
but I don't know. I guess she just went too far and just did not like. I guess the family didn't meet her expectations, etc. So yeah, and it's a sad ending too for like Poison Ivy because she really wanted that change, but I don't know. I guess she just wasn't. It just wasn't the cards for her like she wanted it to be.
Well, that's the theme of the Gotham villains. Some of them want to change, but
But
you
yeah,
know you can't change. And it's funny because not to get off track, I've often thought because right now Harley Quinn is in the mainstream and she's on her own and stuff like that, and I'm not really a fan of that because I kind of agree with Paul Dini in that she's better as a side character. But I've
yeah,
always kind of wondered if it was done right, if Harley had to be on her own, who would be, a good partner, without kind of portraying the character, in terms of like I wouldn't make her like I wouldn't keep her a villain. I mean, there's an argument to be made of once the Joker's gone, she shouldn't be Harley Quinn anymore,
Right.
but the damage is already done, and I've always kind of entertained the idea of her and Deadshot.
I could see.
Um,
I remember that Batman Assault on Arkham movie. They had like a little small like
right, and I know in the Suicide comics they had a fling.
right, right.
Um, and I've never really a fan of the design of her in that, but I've
Yeah,
always kind of liked the idea of her and what was it Lawton is Deadshot's real name? Lawton?
I don't
Something
know. I'm
Lawton?
not really all. I only know a little bit about Deadshot because of Suicide Squad, but I don't have like a big knowledge on the character. I forget his
But
real name.
I always thought if they're gonna have her not be with the Joker, maybe have her be with Deadshot and be like a hired assassin. I thought that would be cool.
Right,
Where she can still kind of be villainous Harley Quinn,
right.
but not have the kind of the same routine with Joker, um, or anything else. But I don't know. I truly think once Joker was gone, like the Joker breakup shouldn't have happened. I
Right.
honestly think if you had to do an end for Harley Quinn, I don't think you should kill her. I think it really
Right.
should have ended like Batman Beyond, where she kind of retired and became an old woman.
Yeah,
You know,
right. Right.
but
As a kid watching Return of the Joker, I never would have thought that that was Harley Quinn, the grandmother, the Dee Dees.
yeah, yeah, but it kind of makes a
It
lot of
does make
sense.
sense. You're right. Yeah,
But
it does.
I want to know, are those Joker's daughters
I
or is
or
it somebody
granddaughters.
else?
It's
Who
really hard
knows?
to say. They don't really explain that.
And I think it's for the best.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know.
probably. Yeah. Not everything always needs an explanation sometimes.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so final honorable mention, Judgment Day. This was like the last episode from the New Adventures of Batman. I really found the character of the judge an interesting like anti-hero where he thinks like Batman's criminals like every time when Batman like fights his criminals and puts them in Arkham, but the judge thinks the opposite. He thinks that they're better off dead rather than like going to Arkham Asylum.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that it has a very like clever twist to it. But I don't want to give too much spoilers in this one. You have to watch it to see like the twist like what? The judge
Yeah.
was who? And
Exactly.
I remember as a kid watching this on a rerun on television. It was an episode I was so like fascinated, amazed with. I wanted because this is the late 90s. There was no you couldn't get this on a VHS tape at the time, or was no DVDs. I wanted to like rewatch this episode, but I couldn't at that time.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. And times have changed. We were just talking about streaming and how you can basically get everything on, but
true.
the things that they take off, I that's why I say that it's important to have your physical media.
Right. You never know sometimes. One minute it's on Amazon, Netflix, Hulu. The next day
Next
it's all
minute it's gone.
it's in a way,
So,
think of it as like Wikipedia, where like you read the article, but then you read the next day, you're like, wait a second, I didn't see this part of Wikipedia.
yep, and same can be said for the things you purchased. Like, let's say you
True.
bought a movie
Right.
online, and they say, well, we actually took it off, but
Right.
but that's a whole
Right.
other thing.
Yeah.
But
All
anyway,
right, here's
you
my
said
top 10. This is the meat and potatoes. I'm just gonna start with number 10 again, my number one, like count as a countdown. Number 10, Two-Face. I think this was like definitely the better justice of Two-Face compared to Batman and Robin.
right.
Because again, it shows like how he's another tragic character who was like, because before he became Two-Face, he was a likable guy, Harvey Dent. He was best friends with Bruce
Yeah, they
Wayne.
built him up.
Oh
Like
yeah,
I
they
say,
did. They did.
out of all the villains of on the original animated series, they built Harvey Dent up probably the most. I think,
Right.
because we got to see him as Harvey Dent for a
Right.
while. And
Yes.
then once the Two-Face, because we knew, because we read the comics and all that, we knew he was eventually going to be Two-Face, and
Oh
how it
yeah.
unfolded with Bruce's guilt, and it's
Right.
a great episode.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also like love it how with all of his like also like when Bruce has like, guilt and grief, like thinking that he failed to save Harvey, he has a dream about that. It's like
Right,
so
right.
like damn. Or
Yeah, and that's
especially
the
how
thing is,
when Two-Face like, why couldn't you save me? Then it cuts to his parents. Why couldn't you save us, son? He wakes up from a
like,
horrible
yeah,
night.
yeah, yeah. It's
Jesus.
it's a great, great scene.
It
It's
is.
yeah,
Like nostalgia critics, they cut to like a happy scene from a Disney movie to
yeah. Exactly, exactly. Great, great stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Number nine, Nothing to Fear. As we talked well, but here's my thoughts about the episode. I don't know why. This was an episode I watched a lot as a kid and always like found myself going back to. Even sometimes I still go back to rewatching it here and there. It's a good episode. It was well, I'll admit it was a good intro to Scarecrow, but I didn't like the design of the Scarecrow in that first episode.
Right.
Yeah. And of course, like as we said before, I just love it how like when he's on the blimp fighting Scarecrow's fear toxins, I am vengeance. I am the knight. I am Batman. It's like the
Yeah, the
perfect knight
iconic,
Batman
the
moment.
iconic line uttered by Kevin Conroy.
I also
And
love it
I
how
really think he was the only one that did that phrase when you really think about it. He was the only one that did that I am vengeance, I am the night, I am Batman. He was the only one that did that. Like Bale did I'm Batman and Keaton did I'm Batman, but never
right,
did the whole I am vengeance, I am the night.
right, right. That's a good point. Yeah, I never thought of it that way. You're right. Yeah, and what
So
else?
that line alone, he cemented his legacy, which Kevin Conroy will be missed. He will always be Batman. Every
Yes.
single time I read a comic, unless it's the Silver Age, but in every single time I read a
Or the
mostly modern day
Adam West
comic, it
comic.
will always be Kevin Conroy as Batman and Mark Hamill as the Joker.
Amen to that. I agree. Couldn't agree with you more than 100% on that one.
Yeah,
And also, what I also love about that episode too, after when the Scarecrow is like finally caught, I just love like that the shot, like the nice visual shot of like Bruce at the cemetery and the night and the even though it's not Danny Elfman, but the music feels like a Danny Elfman's.
right, right. Who
He
is the
drops.
composer? Shirley, was it Shirley Walker? What's her
I think
name?
yes, I believe so. Yeah, Shirley
Yeah,
Walk.
she brought a very Danny Elfman feel to it, but I
She
think it
did
was it was more it had a Danny Elfman feel to it, but it was more its own thing too.
right.
I mean, yeah,
And with no dialogue, like I just love how like Bruce looks at his parents' grave, drops the flowers that he promises that he'll keep their memory and legacy going, that he'll do better and do his best to try to like not you
yeah,
know ruin his father's like image with what he
yeah,
was because he Bruce is a playboy image to hide his identity as Batman, where no one like
yeah.
suspects.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I consider. I mean, even though it's a movie, I consider Mask of the Phantasm really the true ending for the animated series.
Yeah, I guess it's true. Yeah, I could see
You
that.
know, um, and I know people say that I know, the New Adventures is categorized as season four, but that's a completely different series with the same cast.
Right.
Um, that might as well be a completely different universe. That's like comparing the animated series to the Arkham games.
Yeah,
You know,
completely different.
um, same same or similar cast,
Right.
um, similar designs, but I think a completely different series.
Right.
Um,
And
but but yeah,
here's now that I want to I want to get to the list. Number eight, Beware of the Great Ghost. This was an episode I remember the first time seeing it was on a double VHS tape with Batman on the cover, and this was like the second episode they showed on the VHS tape. And what's funny is I'm not really the biggest Adam West fan of like Batman, but this is one of the few things I did like because this is like a version of himself. He's playing himself and not acting because of how when he plays the Great Ghost and he was typecast, and just like how in real life Adam West was typecast after when the Batman show came to an end.
right, right.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
also
and just And to share a personal story, I'm not going to take too long, but to share a personal story, this for me was great too because I got to watch this episode along with most of the animated series and Mask of the Phantasm with my grandfather, who was a
Right.
massive, massive Adam West fan. That was his
Right.
Batman. And to see now he knew Kevin Conroy from his other acting,
Right.
other acting role besides Batman. So he
Right.
already knew Kevin Conroy.
Right.
But seeing Kevin Conroy and his Batman side by side, that was like a dream come true.
Right.
And there's another underlining thing of it was also a tribute to the Shadow,
Right. Yeah. No. In some ways, I can see Gray Ghost look
who was
identical to the Shadow a little bit.
yeah as much as I'm a Batman fan, and I'm not trying to blacklist Batman. Batman, they ripped off a lot of things for the Shadow for Batman.
Right. Right.
That's the
Yeah.
truth. But
I can see that, and
but it is a nice little nod
right.
to the
And
thing
it's
that
also cool to see how you have at that time Kevin Conroy was the new Batman, and you had the old Batman, and then like an episode.
right. Well, that's what I mean is you had the new and the old side by side, and it was a
Right.
giant tribute to that Adam West era
Right. Right.
for a new generation.
And also, Batman's a bit of a fanboy in that episode when he shows him his Gray Ghost collection of
Yeah, well, it's also kind of a nod going back to the comic book. Uh, I I can't talk about this episode, but without talking about the Shadow. But but it's actually a reference to a comic book for when the Shadow and Batman crossed over, and
right.
Batman, much like in the episode, says you were my inspiration to the Shadow, and
Right.
so you know,
It's in some ways, like watching that episode even today, like before Kevin Conroy's passing, I wanted to use the exact same line him saying how like I used to watch you as a kid on like watching Batman. That Batman was my favorite hero, and he still is.
yeah, and
Because
that's what
remember
I
how like
mean.
it ends where like Simon Trent like makes peace with like the Grey Ghost, and he signs like autograph at conventions, and he meets Bruce. Well, little did he know that Bruce Wayne is Batman in that scene.
But yeah, it's that kind of thing. I really wish I would have been able to meet Kevin.
Same, same. He was my top.
He was our Batman,
Yep.
and he will always be our Batman, regardless on who or whatever they get to replace him in the
Yeah.
future. That's it. There's a big reason why the animated series really will stand the test of time,
Oh
much
yeah.
like the timeless aesthetic of Gotham City itself in that show and in the Burton films.
Right.
I don't think it'll ever really age.
Nope. It won't. Doesn't age for me as I get older.
No, it gets better. It
Same.
gets
No.
better
Same.
actually.
Yeah, it does.
But
Okay.
anyway,
Now number 7. Almost got him. I like how like the villains are all like sitting down playing poker. They have like no. They're not like planning like to rob any banks or like any
it's
crime. They're just
probably the most well, I wouldn't say completely lighthearted, but probably the most lighthearted episode. Just to
right.
see that image of all your favorite villains just kind of sitting down and
Yeah, they're chilling. They're
shooting the
just
breeze.
relaxing. Especially how like they're all talking about their own point of view stories of like where who came the closest of getting Batman Killer Croc's story. I threw a rock at him. They just
I
look at
threw a
him like,
rock at him. Yeah, yeah.
oh, it was
Killer
a big
Croc.
rock.
It was a big rock. Yeah.
Yeah, in a way, like the opening, it feels like if Tarantino directed a Batman movie, this is how he would open it with the villains
I
talking about a
I
story.
kind of yeah, I could kind of see that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Anyway, next one. This is a tie between the holiday episodes, Christmas with the Joker and Holiday Nights. Whether I'm not gonna lie, if people like watch Die Hard at Christmas, then I watch these at Christmas time, the Batman
Yeah, I do too.
episodes.
I do too.
Yeah. And plus, there's a little nostalgia for the Christmas with the Joker because as a kid, my grandma got me a VHS tape copy of the Joker episodes with this and the Laughing Fish episode of the Joker episode on the Joker VHS copies.
Right.
Yeah. And
You're
like I
really
said,
sick. You know that, boss?
And also
Arlene Sorkin.
that was like one of my intros to It's a Wonderful Life, which is my favorite Christmas movie of all time.
Yeah,
Because that's what they were originally planning to do was watch it, but then the Joker ruined their Christmas for a little bit.
right.
And Holiday Nights was a good like anthology episode, not just like it was. You had like 3 episodes, but they left out the Mr. Freeze part of that episode, with I guess because of the timing, I guess is what it was.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember
It
when
worked.
I didn't know that was a episode like a comic based off the series, and when I read that comic, I'm like, damn, they left out the Mr. Freeze part. How did I not know there was a Mr. Freeze segment?
Well, more for the comics, I guess.
Yeah, because when they did like the comics to the based on the series, that was because they thought, okay, we're never gonna use this idea for an episode of the show. Let's make it into a comic book style form.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Number 5, Heart of Ice, as we already mentioned before, but again, great dialogue, again. Stop watching Batman and Robin. Watch this episode and see how great of a
For
villain
the
Mr.
definitive
Freeze.
Mr. Freeze,
Yeah.
watch Heart of Ice.
Yes.
It's
That's the
one of
problem.
the best written. It does have maybe one or two goofy moments, but
Yeah.
again, kid show, right?
Yes.
So, but in terms of the writing and the story and the Shakespearean dialogue spit by Mr. Freeze himself, it's one of the best episodes. And
Yeah.
I have to talk, a lot can be said for the Batman music, but
Right.
I
Yeah.
have to talk about the score
Right.
that episode. That Mr. Freeze theme just encapsulates the character
Right. It
completely.
does. Especially how like it's a great opening where we see him looking at the snow globe, thinking about his wife and
Oh yeah, when he's musing about his wife, it's especially at the end, it's one of the most heartbreaking episodes. I mean, I I don't remember watching that. I remember watching that episode vaguely as a kid, but
yeah.
watching it as an adult, it actually brings a tear to my eye. I have no shame
No,
about it
same.
because it's
It's
just
sad.
like, oh, like it hits you.
Right.
Um,
Or especially like when he says to Batman to walk on a hot summer day. Oh yes, I felt it. It's
yes,
like, wow.
yeah,
That's just like that's what the dialogue should have been in Bat, like instead of freeze well, cool party, get the
yeah.
gun.
The line, to
Yeah.
walk on a summer's,
If they want to make another Batman film with Mr. Freeze in it, watch this episode, take notes, and take it
yes,
seriously.
take notes from the Paul Dini version, please,
Yes.
please, and don't make him, because I see what they do with the Arkham games, where I don't mind the voice for Mister Freeze in the Arkham games, but
Right.
he's almost too vulnerable.
Right.
You know, the thing about Mister Freeze is he has lack of emotion.
Right.
He's, for lack of a term, cold.
Right.
He's a cold-blooded,
Right.
villain, but there
Yes.
underneath there's just this shattered heart. Uh,
Right. Because all he wanted to do was
save his wife.
save his wife and cure his wife from a disease that she had.
Yes. Nora, Nora.
Right. That scene like when Batman finds the footage of Mr. Freeze when the head of the head boss of the corporation, great business greedy jerk, stops his experiment when all he wanted to do was just save his wife.
Yeah, I love the line at the end. When Ferris Boyle is the villain
Yeah, and
again.
he was played by
Which
Mark
is a little
Hamill.
on the nose, but okay. Boyle and Freeze,
Eh,
okay.
That he was played by Mark Hamill before he was doing the Joker voice at that
Yep.
time.
And I believe the secretary for that episode, Boyle's secretary, was voiced by Arlene Sorkin, who
Oh,
voiced
really? I didn't know
Harley
that.
Quinn. Yes, I picked up on that rewatching that episode. I was like,
Oh, really?
okay.
Interesting.
But yeah, I love the line at the end of the episode where he's freezing Boyle, and he
Right.
goes, "Mercy, Where was the mercy
Right,
for my wife as she begs with frozen eyes or something like that?
right. It's like it's like now he knows how he feels to be
Yep.
frozen
How I
and
long to see that look frozen upon you.
right. Too
But
bad that
yeah,
actor who played Mr. Freeze passed away a couple years
yes,
ago.
yes, he will be missed because, like so many of the voice cast for that show, they're the definitive for
Yeah,
us.
absolutely.
You know, I can't listen to Harley Quinn without hearing Arlene Sorkin. Yeah,
Same.
I know Tara Strong has taken over and she's been at it for a while, but let's be honest,
Arlene
I never
Sorkin.
cared for her. I never cared for her. I'd say the closest, if you can't get um, Arlene, is the girl from Assault on Arkham. Is
Yeah,
the
she was okay.
Starfire?
Right.
The girl who played Starfire
Right.
in the Teen Titans show. She's probably the closest you can get, but it will always be Arlene.
Yeah.
Same could be said for so many
Right.
voice cast.
Okay, after all that, let's move on to number four. And number four is Mad Loves. We already mentioned before. As I said, this was the first time we learned about Harley Quinn's background, and we also like really see how the Joker is very like mean and abusive to Harley. And he really does not like love and appreciate Harley at all whatsoever.
Yeah, he's the antithesis of just using somebody.
Oh yeah,
That's the one
exactly.
thing. That's the one thing. Not to get off track, but that's the one thing I never liked about the original Suicide Squad movie, the live action one with Jared Leto,
Right.
is because they didn't have that dynamic. It was more of an Edward
No.
and Bella situation. I was like, that's the entire point.
Right.
Is Joker is just using Harley. Harley
Yes.
is completely infatuated with Joker, but
Yeah.
Joker is just using Harley.
Right. It just saddens me how like Harley does not like see that the Joker is just a mind manipulating person, just like
Right,
he was just using her to get to her so he can escape Arlen and get out.
right, exactly.
Right. Especially how like, in some ways, like, what makes the Joker very unique is like he makes up stories like when he said that my father beat me up and stuff, and it's like,
Yep.
do you even know who your father was? Do you even know who you are? That's what makes Joker unique with
And
not
what's interesting is we don't really know the origin of him.
no,
We
no.
have glimpses, um, of what would be later the Killing Joke, but nothing's really clear, as it should be.
Right. Okay. Oh, actually, one more thing before I move on to that. That part, like when she kidnaps Batman and Batman is like, telling her like, the Joker doesn't love you at all and stuff like that. And brain fog. Oh crap.
But yeah,
Actually, here's what I
the
was gonna say.
speech where she's basically almost got him, and she's he's telling her, he's like, listen, you little fool, he
Right.
only loves only loves himself, he doesn't love
Right.
you. Said you're
Right.
delusional, and
Right.
what's
Which
heartbreaking
was.
is Harley really believes that you know that Joker is the one, and that not only would he retire his life of crime for her, but like settle down and have children, and it's just totally delusional.
I don't think Joker would be Dad of the Year. That's for sure.
No,
No.
no, but
But
I'm sure
here's
there's a
here's
comic. I'm sure there's a comic floating around where Joker has unholy spawn somewhere.
probably here's what I was gonna say. The part like when the Joker is like, all mad and furious and like Harley Quinn is vulnerable and has she's like doesn't have like anything to defend herself against the Joker and the joke that scene as a kid watching it when the Joker pushed her out the window, I was like,
Yeah,
holy
it was
cow.
heartbreaking.
It
I mean,
was.
yeah,
I was like
because
so sympathetic towards like Harley Quinn. I felt so bad for her at that moment.
yeah, because you really understood that it's really a one-sided relationship.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's why I laugh whenever I see a post of, like, on Facebook or whatever, saying I want a relationship like Joker and Harley Quinn. I said,
I
could
don't know
you
about
even
that.
fathom that? I said, so you want an abusive relationship?
Yeah, really.
Anyway,
Ugh. Nowadays, people go for either Deadpool and Vanessa.
yeah,
Anyway,
but even
different
that
story.
has its problems.
Yeah, true, true. Okay, number three. This is not really like one. It's more of like Catwoman miscellany episode. I like just about every episode.
Right, just basically
Catwoman.
all the Catwoman
Yeah,
episodes.
like the Cat Claw, Cats. I actually like this one a lot. Cat Scratch Fever, almost, and she was in Almost Got Him, but briefly. Batgirl Returns and Catwalk. Because what I like about in Cat Scratch Fever, after like being released from prison and trying to do a good deed and trying to redeem and redemption, she loses her cat Isis, and she comes
Right,
across Daggett's people who are like kidnapping like cat strays and making them into like vicious, ferocious predator animals.
right,
Yeah. And the law doesn't believe Catwoman because of her record and reputation, and the only one who believes her is Batman.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, good episode. And plus, I love cats a lot too. Just so yeah, yeah. Cat Claw was a great intro to her character, and also in Catwalk, she goes back to being bad again because she feels like she has no identity without being a cat burglar.
yeah, yeah. And there's that constant dynamic.
Right.
What could have been.
Right, right. And
Anyway,
Batgirl Returns was her last appearance. I'll admit I haven't seen this one in a while, so I can't really make much of a comment on that episode. But it's interesting to see where Batgirl and Catwoman are teaming up.
yeah, they had a couple of they had, I believe, one other one in New Adventures.
Yeah, where Nightwing teams up with Catwoman.
Right. And was it Girls Day Out
No,
for New
Girls
Adventures?
Night or something like that.
Girls Night,
Yeah, something
something
like I
like
know what
that.
you're talking about, but it
Supergirl and
escapes.
Livewire and
Yes.
yeah.
All right, moving on. Number two, Perchance to Dream, as we already talked about before. Phenomenal episode. It's a great like what if episode if like what would have happened if Batman's parents were like not murdered that night when
Yep.
would be Batman.
It's like if Batman the Animated Series meets the Twilight Zone.
Yes. Or It's a Wonderful Life in some
Yeah.
ways. Yeah. And especially how I just love it how like when Bruce realizes that when he's like reading the books that it's all a dream and an illusion. I just love that those
Right,
shots
right.
of him at
And they had a
the
couple episodes like that. As we talked about the one episode with when they when Batman wasn't sure if everything he had done in his life was true and all his rogues gallery was it Into Darkness episode? I always trip up
right.
on that episode on
But
the
but
episode
this is
title.
just But like this episode is like great visuals of like the bell, the thunder and the lightning, the bell
Right, right.
towers, where
Yeah.
it's like that Bruce
That's
comes face to face with his own enemy, himself against Batman.
that's why I miss the old animations so much is they had lightning in a bottle for the animated series, and you'll never get that writing or
No,
that animation again,
no, no.
unfortunately.
Okay. So anyway, here's my number one favorite episode. Well, again, this is just an opinion and a little tricky, but the heck with it. Dreams in Darkness, because this was the first episode I ever saw of the series as a little kid. Again, as I mentioned before on the Batman animated series VHS tape with Batman on the cover.
Right, right. And that was the episode we just talked about, right?
Yes, we did, which we just talked about already,
Yeah,
but
Dreams in
still.
Darkness is what it was called.
Yeah, Dreams in Darkness.
Yeah.
I also like that part, like when he goes down to the basement, he basically has like a bad dream episode where like all of his like the villains are like taller than him, where they feel like they're the ones winning against Batman.
Right, right. And there's a great scene where a doctor comes in, like he's in the asylum,
Yeah,
in a straitjacket, and he says, "Well, so and so, the Joker or Jack Napier
yeah,
was blah blah blah," like, and basically he he starts to think, he's like, wait, were all these villains real? Was I a patient? Or,
Right.
it's a great episode. Great episode.
Yeah. In some ways, you can think of it as like an opening to like Caligari. Well, even though it's not that kind of same level, but even though despite Batman was really trying to get out because the Scarecrow was really putting fear toxins in the waters, whereas in
Right.
Cal, whereas if you probably never heard of the Cabinet Dr. Caligari, one of the first early horror films of the
I know
20s.
of it. I know of it, yeah.
Yes, it has an opening with the man's point of view telling his story.
Cool. Very
Yeah,
cool.
if you never saw the film, I don't want to spoil it.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
All
So
right, so I'll stop it right there. But anyway, so that was my favorite episodes of Batman the Animated Series.
it's great stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah, it's
Didn't we want to talk about Jurassic Park as well?
yes. Today is the 30th anniversary when Jurassic Park was released in the theaters on June 11th, 1993, and
Did
also
you even
I
heard?
just did a review of it that came out today on my YouTube channel.
It's crazy to think. Those animatronics still hold up. They still
Yeah.
hold.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially how it's kind of funny how like it had like a combination of like practical and CGI effects. It was a combination of both, not just like one or the
Right.
other. And
Right.
I think some
Those
of the
effects still
CGI is
stand the test of time.
yeah, I think the CGI is okay, but it's somewhat
Yeah.
out. That was the early years of CGI before it's been like done well and somewhat perfected it to a degree because originally Spielberg wanted to use stop motion animation effects like King Kong style, but once he saw the computer graphics, he's like, no, we're going in this direction instead.
I think it was a smart move.
Right, right. I would have loved to have seen a stop motion because I'm such a killer for like cool practical
Maybe.
effects.
Maybe. If it all depends on how it would have been done. We'll
Right.
never know.
No, no, it's one of the things we'll never see how it could have. It's a great like fun action adventure horror sci-fi film where the dinosaurs are brought back to life through like mutated DNA, and it's another example why you should not be playing God.
Exactly, exactly. It's sort of like Frank, but with
Yeah,
dinosaurs.
like Frankenstein. Yeah, let's just say I'm glad I wake up every morning knowing that when I leave the house, I don't have to worry about big giant T-Rex stumping on
What?
me.
You don't want it to be like the Flintstones and right off the tail of a Bronchiolisaurus?
No, I don't think so. Nah, unless. But wait, what was the dinosaur name in Flintstone? I haven't seen Flintstone in
I
years.
I don't
Uh,
know, but
it's been a long
when you
time,
were saying that, I couldn't help but think of Flintstones.
right? But
Which
actually, what's funny about Jurassic Park, the '90s was like big on dinosaurs, like the dinosaur TV show.
oh
Uh,
yeah,
we're back at Dinosaur Tale, an animated film that came out in the mid.
yup, Dinosaurs the series.
Yeah, yeah, and also the Super Mario Brothers film from the '90s movie. That was a bad movie, but it did have a dinosaur.
Yep, and Beast Wars and stuff
Right.
like that.
Theodore.
Godzilla,
Yes.
Godzilla.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, somewhat. Even though that's a list, but still, I can see why people would think Godzilla's a dinosaur because he's the size of a dinosaur.
Yeah, but yeah, we had a little bit of reptile fear,
Yeah.
let's say.
Yeah, Dress. I watched it and reviewed it for my channel, and it still holds up pretty good. It's still and not only that, great performances like
Oh
Sam
yeah,
Neill's
was it
character.
Cary Grant and
No, Sam Neill and
Sam Neill,
yeah.
right?
What Cary Grant was dead at that point.
Right, right.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, it's also the melodrama with Sam Neill's character bonding with the kids in that movie is what makes it so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
And
anyway,
before I guess to wrap things up, the Sandlot movie turns 30 years this year. One of my favorite
that's
child.
crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. No, it's because these movies came out the year I was born, 1993, and I'm doing a working on it because on my birthday of August this year, I'm gonna release a video movies that came out the year I was born.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know other than Halloween 6.
That
Came
came
out.
out in '95.
Yeah, that came out the year I was born. So
Right. Yeah, you can go. You can Google like yeah, that's what I did when I turned 20. Googled what happened the year of 1993. What movies came out the year I was born.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? Didn't Mortal Kombat came out that year? Or was that 92?
That I don't know. I'm not so sure about that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But we're getting off track. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, Jurassic Park, 30 years old.
And so the Sandlot, even if you're not a baseball fan, there's a lot of people that love this movie.
I love The Sandlot.
Me
You know, I'm
too. The
not a,
Kill
I'm not a huge
Smalls.
baseball fan, but I love The Sandlot. It's such a good movie.
Well, I love the movie, and I'm a huge diehard nerd baseball fan because of that. Well, there
So
that and
that's double whammy.
yeah, it's a double whammy for me for well because growing up in an Italian family, that was the big the food and watching baseball with my grandfather a lot.
Right.
Yeah. And also it's what got me into the Yankees and the Sandlot, learning about Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig,
And
and the Yankees.
PF Flyers.
Yeah.
Make you jump higher, run faster.
Right, right. It's also like funny how you have like these like group of friends who like play baseball. Yet, well, you have a kid who moved in from out of town. He's trying to make friends, and the kids Benny Rodriguez is like the one that teaches him and makes him feel confident to play ball, even if he's not like the greatest well, especially how the
Right.
movie ends where he's a baseball broadcaster. He didn't play baseball, but he still has a job, had a job in baseball.
Who would have thought it? You know, who would have
Yeah,
thunk it?
well, there's other jobs in baseball than just playing. There's umpires, there's uh sports writers and sports nets.
Commentators, as
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was, but
exactly. Yeah.
um, but yeah, yeah. So
It's
yeah,
such a great coming of age 90s nostalgia film of makes you wish, oh, I missed those summer years as a kid where I used to go play out sports with my friends.
yeah,
Yeah.
good time.
And I recently saw the Little Mermaid remake.
Yeah, what'd you think about that? I've been hearing that it's
It
just
was okay. It was
it's
okay. I didn't hate.
okay
It
because
was
I've
okay.
been hearing that it's bad, and I've been avoiding it. So you know,
It was all right. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was. I mean, some changes, but I thought the actress who played Ariel was okay, but I wouldn't say it was the best thing. It was not as bad as like I felt the way with the
can
Aladdin remake.
can I can I ask you something?
Go
Because
ahead.
I've seen I've seen clips of it. I
Right.
can't shake the feeling. Now I don't know if this is intentional. I can't shake the feeling. I don't know what they did with her face in the CGI.
Right.
There's something about what they did to her face in the CGI where she looks kind of fish-like.
Right.
Did you
Okay.
pick up on that? Because I
No,
did.
I couldn't get over with how the way her father King Crichton looked like Aquaman a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
little bit. He looked like
Well,
Aquaman, a poor man's
Aqua
version.
Bro.
Yeah.
Little Jason Momoa, Aqua Bro.
Yeah. I kept
I'm
joking about
Aqua
Jason
Bro.
Momoa popping up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I didn't pick that up, I guess, with her face. I don't know. I guess I
Yeah,
didn't.
because I noticed that too. I'm like, I mean, I looked at her and I was like, I know that's not what she really looks like. I don't know if they're trying to make her look fish-like or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, I don't. It's hard to say on that one. I guess I didn't really pick up on that one. All I can stop thinking about how like it's all like green screen CGI, not so. I
And
mean,
it's really, really dark visually.
yeah, it
It's
is. It
not as
is.
colorful as.
Yeah. Do you care if I spoil one thing if you don't mind,
Oh,
or
I'm not gonna see. You can
okay,
see.
fair enough. Remember how in the original one where Eric killed Ursula?
Right,
Instead, it was Ariel, and it was the reverse. Ariel saves
right. I
Prince
remember
Eric.
hearing about that actually. I got a
Yeah,
little spoiled
I
already.
was a little bit surprised. I'm like, okay, I'm thinking, okay, it's a remake. You're gonna change it up. Like, let's not try to. Yeah,
Right, right.
yeah,
But I don't know.
it's
Nothing will touch that Renaissance
right.
animation.
Of course, no, no. Believe me, it doesn't top it. Of course, it was. I didn't hate or love it. It was just like, okay, it's not as bad as I thought
It's
it was.
okay, but
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it again. Yeah,
yeah,
kind of thing.
exactly. Nothing I'm in a rush to. It's not like how when sometimes I went to see a movie in the theater, depending on how I really love it, I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna buy this on Blu-ray. I'm not buying this remake on Blu-ray right
Yeah, and
away.
that's the sad thing. I have not seen a movie in a while. I think the last one I saw was the last one I enjoyed was Top Gun.
Right. I haven't seen that
Was
yet
the
still.
Top Gun Maverick,
Right.
and I haven't seen a movie where I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll watch that again.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like a movie that came out recently.
Right.
I haven't
It
really
it,
seen.
it 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 really depends for me, I guess. If like Well, I guess here's one example. Like last year, the movie Pearl. Well, I want to see it when it came out. Pearl, the horror
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, I still
But
need to
I
see
did see
that.
it
Yeah.
eventually, but not in the theater because I got busy and sidetracked with other things. And when I saw it, I'm like, oh my God, this is. I mean, not that I'm saying it's. I can respect people's opinions of what they think is scary, and but like I said, because of being a film snob and buff that I am, I just love it how like he's paying tribute to the early years of
Right.
cinema and
Yeah, and
horror.
I can appreciate that too.
Yeah.
You
Was
know,
was this the best way? No, but in me, I was satisfied and okay with what I saw. But that's
right,
just
right,
me. Yeah.
right.
And when I saw it, I'm like, I'm buying this on Blu-ray right away.
Yeah.
Or here's
Sometimes
another
that happens.
or here's
Like
another
I was watching a couple weeks ago, actually less than like 2 weeks ago, Underworld, right?
I didn't see that, but
With
I'm
Kate
familiar with the
Beckinsale. It's an okay movie. It's 2000s as all get.
right, yeah,
It,
yeah,
like for those of you who haven't seen it, it's a vampire type movie, but
right.
it's like Matrix was so obviously a thing during this.
Yeah,
There was slow mo, there was
right.
trench coats, there was edgy 2000s music.
It's
It
funny you
brought me
say that.
back to a time, and I guess most people would say that I guess it would be cringe, but I don't know. I enjoyed it, but
Right.
I guess I can kind of understand it in that way.
Right.
You know?
I've never seen any of the movies, so I can't really comment or give an
The
opinion,
first
but
one's okay. It's
I can see your
okay.
point though about how that I never thought of it how it seems like after the success of the Matrix movie, everyone like seemed to like
For a
parody it or
long time.
right, yeah. It
It
was like
wasn't until I think very, very recently that it's that the Matrix tribute. Like I want to say, I think it actually stopped at like '07, '08,
I don't know. It's hard to say on that one.
because everybody was making Matrix references. All the
Yeah,
parody
yeah,
movies, everybody.
right.
And
And it's funny as a kid watching the Matrix movies, I never thought gave it much of a thought about what the whole it took me like basically like almost like 20 years of my life to figure it out what the whole premise was. And in 2018 when I rewatched it for, going back to like now I get it. It all
right,
clicked me. It all clicked it like just like that.
right. But
Yeah.
yeah, this particular movie was like 2000 squared. I think it
Right.
came out in 2003,
I
which
don't know. I'm not so sure.
which
It's one of those films I've heard about, but I've never seen. So
I would give it a watch. It's a fun
right.
movie. It's a
Right.
fun movie.
It's a film that was popular in the 2000s. I never really got into that. I did try to watch
Which one?
the Resident Evil films.
Yeah, I never got into those either.
Yeah, and that was
I
before
never
I knew
did.
that they were
But
video
that
games.
the thing is, I've never really been a huge Resident Evil fan.
Right,
It's not. It's funny, and I don't mean to compare the two, but very, very recently I've been getting into the Silent Hill video games,
right,
and they're very, very good. And very much
right.
inspired by Jacob's Ladder.
My sister told me she saw one of them in the theater, Silent Hill.
Yeah, the first one's really good.
Oh yes, she told and it's very unusual for her to say that because she doesn't even like horror movies. But this was I guess this was before. I don't know. I can't really say for her. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Also, I don't know if you know this. Originally, Romero was supposed to direct the first Resident Evil film, but he just never got the
No,
green.
I can't really see that, but I don't know. I was never really into Resident Evil, so you're asking the wrong
Heck,
guy.
if he would have been involved with it, I would have because George Romero really was an excellent horror director than just
Oh
doing
yes,
zombie
yes he
films.
was.
But I think because of his reputation, they typecast and they only saw him as the guy who did zombie horror films, not like he did
Horror, horror.
the Creep Show movie. That was excellent.
Yeah, the Creep Show was
But oh
great.
man, I haven't seen like Martin and he did the Crazies.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah,
The
those I got to
Crazies.
check out.
Yeah,
Monkey
I think I saw
Minds.
the original Crazies. I think he directed that.
Yeah, yeah. I've
Yeah,
heard about them, but just haven't gotten around to seeing them because I don't know if where I can get them from like any physical media
yeah. I
or
don't
to
know where to
rent.
pick them up physically. I forget where I found it originally. I think it might have been just on YouTube somewhere. I don't know if it's
Right,
still on YouTube.
right. And that's
But
another
that was the original one from the '70s. So
yeah. because Night of the Living Dead was his breakout and like all broke grounds for like making the beginning of like zombies and especially flesh-eating zombies. Because
Right.
before that time, there were only like zombie films where it was like more about mind control and voodoo, not
Yeah, like
flesh
White
eating.
Zombie and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or I walked through the zombie and
Yeah.
actually here's a little fact about me. Actually, I last semester in my college, I did a we did I did this I don't remember what the name of the course was, but in the course I actually edited a Wikipedia article on exploitation film. So next time if you go on that exploitation film Wikipedia, that was I mean I didn't write the article, but
It was me.
I did a little bit of editing of that article, and it was the first time ever I did a Wikipedia because I've always stayed away from that stuff, but this was for a good cause. It was for an assignment, so I got the okay permission, but I still had to be careful, of course, and make sure I used good resources and no plagiarism, of course.
Yeah.
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 But it wasn't too bad. Once the professor like gave us like these training module exercises to learn about, okay, these are the do's and don'ts of how to edit a Wikipedia article.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I put the White Zombie movie poster and wrote about this was the first ever zombie film.
Yeah. Yeah,
But then
exactly.
again, who really knows the answer to that question? It's
I
just
guess Carnival of Souls maybe it runs, but
well,
I don't
even
know.
Romero said he had inspiration from that film for Night of the Living Dead.
But anyway, moving
This
on.
this was an improvise. I didn't expect. That's okay. Sometimes improvising works.
Sometimes. But anyway, moving on.
What's on your mind, bud? I feel like I've been giving.
No, we've been doing good with the Jurassic Park stuff, so yeah, so 30 years Jurassic Park, and I saw on your script because we've got a little bullet point thing. You wanted to talk about the whale, the Brendan Fraser.
Yeah. Oh yes, the recent Darren Aronofsky Academy Award film. Wait,
Yeah,
hold
the
on a second.
the
Wait.
Brendan Fraser comeback movie. Oh, hold on, he's gone. Now he's gone.
I'll be done soon. Oh yeah, the whale with Brendan Fraser. It was just, I mean, it was a great movie, but it was the kind of film I need
Yeah, I
to break.
hear it's one of those movies that you kind of have to mentally prepare for yourself. I don't know if I want to
Yes,
watch it. I like Brendan Fraser as an actor. I always thought
right.
he was good, very underrated.
Well, being a movie buff I am, it's like, I've seen Eraserhead, I've seen Requiem for a Dream, and it's like I saw
Yeah,
House, the
yeah. I
70s
mean,
Japanese
there are
horror.
certain films I don't think I'll ever get around to or really have any desire of seeing.
I refuse to watch
I
Human Centipede
yeah, I think
and the 50 Shades
honestly,
movie.
I'll give this one a pass, The Whale a pass,
That's
much
okay.
like I
I
gave
understand.
Requiem. I gave Requiem for a Dream a pass because, it's one of those movies, you know, I'm not expecting to feel good with every movie I watch, but it's one of those
Fair
movies that
enough.
where, I don't feel like wanting to be depressed for a week.
Well, let's just say if you think that was bad, there's like reality shows of like my 600-pound life. That's
Oh yeah, but those are like I don't know. I laugh at those. No offense to anybody, but I laugh at
it
those
freaks
because
me
it's
out.
like
It makes
it's
me
like you can't take that seriously.
right.
This film's a little bit more serious in that light, where it's obviously somebody with a problem. But
Right.
yeah, I don't think I would. I
Let's just
don't.
say after I saw the movie, I needed a mental break. I needed to watch a
Yeah, it
comedy. I needed to
seems
watch
like
the
that
Jim
type of
Carrey
movie.
movies.
It seems like that type of movie where you need a mental
Oh yeah,
break.
yes. It's just that like here's a guy. It's like so sad and depressing how like he lost his lover and he's like a reclusive. He teaches an online course. Nobody knows what he looks like. He doesn't have
Right.
much like outside contact with the real world, and he's estranged from his ex-wife. And well, the guy was gay, so obviously there's some estrangeness there. And his daughter is a basically a high school rebel. Like she has no friends and no social life, and she doesn't like
Right.
her father. And he's trying his best to like connect with her before he basically goes and dies.
Yeah, and like I said, that type of movie is just it's
And
not
it's
really
not
for
just
me.
like the weight; it's everything from the physical, the mental, the psychological of his condition.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah,
sounds like a heavy movie. I'm gonna have to give that a pass.
yeah,
But
that's okay. That's okay.
anyway, is there anything else you want to cover?
No, I think that just covers about everything, and I'm already thinking about an idea for next time. Movies I refuse to watch, but again, that'll be the
That might
future.
be for next time. But anyway, I've been Wolfman Sam with my partner Johnny Buff Guns, and we are Creatures of
Creatures
the
of the
Night.
Night. See you
Thank
later,
you for
bud.
joining us.
Thank you.